Good evening, all. So yes, I'm Anne-Marie. I'm partially in country living. I'm semi there. I'm in a village at the moment. So I always love gardening. Gardening for me is just a hobby, thanks to my late dad. So I grew up in Jamaica, and usually Caribbean people are not old normally plant something in the yard. It's modern day. They start using just the lawn. People used to normally plant food of some sort. And I remember when I was much younger, my dad gave me a little sugarcane patch, and that was mine. I could harvest it whenever, I could do whatever I want, because as Caribbean children, we had to ask. We have to ask for things. We couldn't just go and open the fridge or do things. You have to ask permission. Can I have this? Can I do that? Probably anyone from Africa or the Caribbean can relate to that. We weren't free will, we could just do things. So when he gave me that sugarcane patch, I just fall in love with gardening, and up until this day, sugarcane is my favorite treat in the world. Okay, so if I want to bring a smile on my face, just carry some sugarcane and give it to me. So I do have a YouTube channel, and it's AA Home Gardening. So we're gonna look at this side of gardening, because if you go to the country, you still need something to eat. It's no point of you being in the country, then you have to drive miles and miles to the city to go and get some food. Okay, so we go through the slides and we discuss as we go along. So we start with a text in the Bible that say, and they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit thereof. So the Bible is specific. So you have your houses, but you should have a garden. It doesn't make sense to have all these fancy houses and everything, or say you're moving to the country for the nice fresh air, or you're moving to the country to escape what coming to the city first. You have to be realistic, because the thing is, we cannot do without food. Agree? Agree with that statement that you have to plant? Yes, we cannot just have the house. We have to plant something.
Amen. Amen.
Right.
It
Yes,
is
amen.
an essential part of it.
Exactly. And the thing is, there's so many skills that we need to acquire and master. And if we wait to the last minute, we're going to find ourselves in a country, nice remote location, and then we're like, how do I do this? Remember, while we have the opportunity now, the internet is free, it's not so censored where we are. If we don't know how to do things, we can go online, we can look, we can ask questions. Most people are on WhatsApp now. And myself and Talent, we have like YouTube channel, and both of us do gardening. You can ask questions, get to learn to do things. Because if you wait until you go to the country and acquire a nice property, you need to be able. There's an old gentleman, he's from Thailand, and he quote this. He said, the first thing you need to do, he said, find the land. Find the land, but don't build the house first. He said, make sure you start your garden before the house, because when the house is finished, you have something to harvest. And I think that's so, so true. Because the thing is, it doesn't make sense. We're just focusing on the building, and then we're not focusing on what we need to sustain ourselves. So we're going to look at different things, or country living and gardening blend together. So we're going to look at how being in the country, being in the garden actually can connect you closer to God. Where I'm living now is in a forest, and I'm telling you the amount of birds in my garden. So when you just go out and hear the chirping of the birds and the different types of bird, you cannot help but think about God. Okay, so we're going to go through all these: the food, the medicine, new skills, money, witnessing, exercise. So those are some of the things I'm aiming to go through today with you guys, and hopefully we can learn from each other as we go along. Every picture, I must say, every picture that's going to be included in my slides are from my garden. Okay, some beautiful flowers and everything, they're all from my garden. Nothing brings me so much. Everyone in this life, we need something to detox you. Life itself is stressful, even though the Bible says, fear not, cast all your cares upon him. All those things, we're human and we're living in an evil world. We need an avenue to detox us. For me, it's gardening. I cannot be too tired to garden. I cannot be too sick to garden. I just want to be out there with my plants. That's me. I said to my boys, I have two, and I said to them, the flowers, the garden was my babies before you guys were born. I love gardening. I really do. So I'm always out there enjoying myself in the garden. So this is a picture from my backyard. So as I said, I'm like semi-country. So you can see some of the houses are not too close together, and there's lots of bush all around. Okay. So being in the garden for me is just being at one with nature, as I said previously, with all the birds and everything that's out there. You know, you have these squirrels where I don't really like sometimes when you're gardening because they like to come and eat off your food. But when I step out in my back door in the morning and I look up, and this is not even the best view, okay? I should have done a better view for you. But when I look up and I see these open field, and I can see the baba, I can see the alpaca, you can see cow. So nice. It's like you're still in the world and you have all these hiccups and everything going on, but you can stop, you can pause, you can do your deep breathing that you should be doing to get the lungs going. It just makes a massive difference than being in the city. So I love that. And then it's less polluted here because where I'm at, there's no through road. So it's a little cul-de-sac at the end. So you're not going to have any traffic going through unless the person is coming to the house and things like that. So it does make a difference. And then we're going into the garden, but just to get there, to get in the outline of being connecting to God more, getting your mind in a state where you can hear the voice of God more. So you're just going through that bit first and just spending time with your family. 2020 was a blessing for me in a lot of ways. And when I start, I actually paused my full-time job to homeschool. So I started working part-time 2019 July, just before next year. And I asked my boss, could I work from home? Because what I was doing didn't require me to be in the office. And I said, could I work from home? And he said, no, you have to be in the office. So I was like, okay. When 2020 happened, I haven't been back in the office since. Thank God for that. So it's a blessing for me. And my husband, and the photo here, is always on the road. And 2020, we spent so much time together. Some family didn't like it, some like it, because some of us are not even used to spending so much time with our partner, but we did so much walks. And that's the nice thing about being in the countryside. We didn't have to drive to the walks. We could just walk. Come out of your back door and you walk. That's a nice thing about being in the countryside. There's so much things to go and explore. And you can go foraging. There are different things you can find in nature. And the thing is, now is the time that we need to know how to identify these things. So when time is crucial, we don't go and eat the wrong thing. Okay, so we need to find this time now. You have some nice books. I have like a natural remedy encyclopedia. That is like my go-to book that I use, and it can help you. And let us show you. This book, whoop. Can you see? Or did this be show? I don't know. I'll show you after because this thing is, because it's blocked out. But I'll show you the book after. I don't know how to get it to show. But it's a natural remedy encyclopedia that I go to identify some of the plants. I'm not into medical missionary, but I do a lot of research around natural herbs that I have in the garden and how to use them to treat things. Because remember, in a short time from now, we won't have access to doctors. Okay. So if our neighbors or family or anyone are little kind of ailments or certain things, we should be like one of the go-to. And that's how we can we're going to help to witness to these people because we're going to know which herb to use, what to use from the garden. Okay. And just being in nature is good for us mentally, because in today's society, we're on technology too much. So being away is always good. So let's get in the garden now, okay? And guys, this is my nectarine that I've grown from seed, and this is less than 3 years old. This is food, you know? So being in the countryside, most of us, when we go to the countryside, we're going to be like a minimum of 20, 30 minutes away from the city. So we have to plan, because even though we may go to the city for certain things, we cannot go regularly because petrol, time, all those things. So usually we buy things in bulk if you have to go out and buy, so you don't have to go every day. So this is where the garden comes in now. The majority of the food should be from the garden, and hopefully in the very near future, everything we eat should be from the garden. Because based on society at the moment, we are buying poison with our own money. We don't want to do that. Our body is a temple of Christ, so we have to be careful what we put in our bodies. So one of the things we should be mastering now is learning how to preserve our food. You know, learn to can, learn to dehydrate things. And I watched a video recently with the Amish people, how they preserve their food using ash, like charcoal or just wood burning things. And they use the ash to preserve the thing because they don't have fridge and things like that. And that's the other things, our mindset have to change. Yes, technology have increased, so now we can have solar and all those things, so it can be off grid. But what if a natural disaster take place and those panels are destroyed? Would we have sufficient food? Because like in the Caribbean, we do have hurricane season every single year. So we have to plan our garden in a sense that we have crop above ground, crop underneath. So if the ones at the top are blown down, we should have some that can dig up afterwards. So that's where the thinking and the old gardening, we have to really think about it, guys. We can't just say, okay, we're going to the country, but you have to think about the food source. Okay. So planting different crops, some that go above ground. So if there's a natural disaster, hopefully the terrain that you choose to live on as well is not too flat, where everything is then rotten underground and you can't get to harvest those as well. So I'm learning pressure canning at the moment. I tried the pickle, just the jar using pickles and everything last year. Still haven't mastered that yet. But the dehydrating, I've done the herbs and things like that to dehydrate. And like if I have peaches or anything from the garden, I can just slice them very thinly, put them in the dehydrator, and it become like a dry snack, and it will store longer. Okay. So those are some of the things we have to try to learn from now. So when the time comes, we won't be too out of sync of what to do. So guys, I love blueberries. This is me snacking on my blueberries while I'm working. Yes, guys, that's a cereal bowl. That's just one harvest. I just went out, harvest my blueberries and come snacking. Because the thing is, blueberries are expensive in the shop. Okay? So when we go to country living now, we're thinking about balancing all the nutrients in your body, all those things. So you have to think about crops that you can grow. So it knows that you get the magnesium, the potassium, the zinc, you name it. So you can have a balanced meal just the same. Okay. So I love my blueberry. Those are loaded with antioxidants anyhow, naturally boost immune system, just like your elderberry, your arona berry, otherwise known as chokeberry. So you need those in your garden. That's your medicine cabinet in your garden. Okay. So you use these things to boost your immune system, keep away viruses, disease, and things like that. Because like the elderberry and the arona berry, hopefully you know those plants. Those were medicines of old. Those were medicine when you do research. Those were medicines that used to use to treat any flu viruses and respiratory issues. Probably if there's anyone in here from the Caribbean, you'll be used to things like leaf of life and things like that we used to use as children to combat the common cold and things like that. And guys, instead of snacking on unhealthy things, we can snack on these, okay? And yes, guys, they are delicious. So that's some of the things from the garden. Grapes. I think I try to grow every fruit that's listed in the Bible. So your pomegranate, your grape, your fig, you name it. I have it in my garden, and I do mostly container gardening, guys, because where I'm living is rented and I have to be on the move when I need to go. So most of them are in container. So this is my grapes from my backyard. And guys, oh, they have seeds in. Okay. I don't know if you're hung up on that, but the verse I quoted at the beginning, it says, bearing the seed thereof. Okay. So basically, fruits were supposed to have seeds. Okay. So you have to be careful to say that in society these days, but they should have fruits in there. That's what differentiates fruits from vegetables. So I love grapes, but I will deprive myself of eating grapes until mine come in, because the majority of them on the market don't have seeds in, and I won't eat them. And not only do they not have seeds, they're so heavily sprayed that you're eating so much nasties, okay? So we need to learn how to, because the grapevine is tricky, guys. You have to prune it a certain way, and you have to remember that it's a new shoot that bring out the grape the following year. So if you don't try experimenting now, you're probably gonna have the grapevine dying on us, which have happened to me before. Okay, so at least I know no, not to do that thing. If I wait until the last, then I'll be in trouble. Okay, so these are some of the things, and the thing is as well is like being in the countryside, we are exposed to a lot of pests, birds, squirrels, and depending on where you live, other type of insects. And I had my grapes not covered. There's a mesh over it now, a mesh bag. And I never knew I had to do that when I started. Is when I saw my grape disappearing, I was like, okay, the birds are trying to get to it before it's even ripe for me to enjoy it. So those are some of the things we have to think about, guys, because it doesn't make sense. We put in hard work all the time, everything, and we don't get the harvest, guys. It doesn't make any sense. The other thing I discovered was I had my first time I did grapes that fruited. They started splitting. I should have included a picture of that one. It's like the grape just burst. You know, like when you overwater a tomato plant when it's fruiting, and the tomato just start bursting. The grapes was like that. And I was like, that doesn't look right. I was confused. I was like, what's wrong with the grapes? Then I researched, it was too much water. You know, up in the UK here, we get a lot of storm. So as soon as the fruit starts setting in late spring, summer, you know we have a lot of storms. You have excess rain. And then when they do bless us with the sunshine, it sometimes come harsh. So it's a different thing, just split the grapes. So what I do now, I grow them under covering, because you have to think of the climate you're in. When you experiment and see what works, what doesn't work, then you can alter things. So that's another healthy snack on the go. You don't have to eat the processed food, guys. You know, so that's another mindset you have to shift. If you're used to having your crackers and cheese or whatever you eat, you have to think of healthy snacks to eat. And that's where the gardening come in, guys. Learn to grow what you like to eat. That's how you'll fall in love with gardening. Start with what you like to eat. I love sugarcane, so that's one of the things I always try to grow. And yes, guys, I've got sugar cane to harvest here in cold UK. It was not as sweet as I wanted, but guys, I have to give and take because we don't have the sun for that long to make it as sweet as I would have wanted, but it did went down a treat. So that's some of my snacks. So yes, guys, I'm pleased with my bunch of grapes. And then strawberries. Who don't like a good strawberries? Not the ones in the market. They don't taste right. They don't have no flavor. They're just tasteless. So usually when you go to the country, you have family. Most of us probably still have young children. So start planting something in the garden that the children would like. Okay. If they like it, then they will be encouraged to come and help in the garden because they're helping you, but they're helping themselves and snacking as they go along. My last son, he comes out in the morning and help himself to the strawberries and the berries and whatever else is ripening. So start your garden, but you're planting the garden for survival, food for the family. But if you have children and things like that, keep that in mind. So you can do your raspberries, the tayberries, all the berries that are easy to harvest. So the younger ones can see an instant thing. So they don't have to wait for like 3 years for a fruit tree to start fruiting. These are within few months, they can start enjoying these things from the garden. So yes, guys, this was an earlier harvest for me. I started harvesting strawberries last week of April. It was quite early. I actually transplanted some. And that's the other thing as well, guys, a garden skill. When you have your strawberries and you have the runners, you have to start gardening now knowing that the strawberry will not last forever. Within 3 years, they will start producing tiny strawberries. You don't want that. So you need to focus and say, okay, then, as soon as they start doing the runners, use that as new plants. And that's how you continue having good sized strawberries. So those are some of the gardening knowledge we need to take note of from now. So when you go to the countryside and you decide, I want loads of strawberries to make my sauce for my pancake or strawberry ice cream, and you're thinking the first year was bountiful, but after that, second year was nice. Then after that, the strawberries start getting tinier and tinier and tinier. And you're thinking to yourself, what happened? Because I didn't take the time to do the gardening part of country living. Okay, guys. So it's like within 3 years, you can toss out all the old strawberry plants and rely on the runner, the new ones, and you continue to have nice sized strawberries. And yes, guys, some are nicer than some. So when you get the nice sweet ones, you just save the seeds, do the runners. As you can see, all these seeds popping out, you can grow strawberry from those. But the quickest way is to use the runner. And there's also wild strawberries. I don't know if you encountered the wild strawberries. You can use that, guys, as a cover crop. You know, when you're in the countryside, normally you have lot of acres of land or a good land mass for you to manage, and the weed can get too much because everything competing for food and light and all those things. So your strawberry, but the wild strawberry probably will do even better because it's grow in the wild naturally. You just use it as a cover crop to suppress the weed. It and peanuts, the groundnuts, you can use those as cover crop. You can also use pumpkin because you want to keep the weed down as much as possible. Then it's less work for us as well. And the nice thing about using those, you're suppressing the weed, but it's food as well. So it's just extra food. So I know you get all those extra things going. Then it's less work for us in the end. Then ginger. Who don't like nice, hot, fiery ginger? Not the massive fat ones that you can get sometime at the main supermarket that doesn't taste like ginger, doesn't smell like ginger. I don't know what it is, okay? So this was harvest from my garden last year. And ginger is one where it's both food because it adds a nice flavor to the dishes, but guys, it's also medicine. It's good for indigestion. It's good for so much things. Okay. So it's nice to have this in the garden. And if you have like an upset stomach or anything, you can just brew some ginger tea. So this will now take you into the other part of gardening, which is going to look at the medicine side. So, you know, food is wide. You know, you plant what you eat. Your potatoes, your plums, your peaches, your jackfruit, you name it, depending on where you're doing country living. If you're over here, you know, you can't get most of the nice tropical things. So you have to stick to the potatoes and the corn and pumpkin and squash. For me, I'm praying the good Lord will bless me to be in the tropics soon so I can do my country living there where I can, because the thing is with the sunshine, the vitamin D, not only is it good for us, but when you get that sunshine and those sun-kissed ripe fruits, the nutrients level is dense. It's not like here, guys. I'm telling you, when you plant your things here and you grow them yourself and you learn how to do natural fertilizer, for me, I just soak my comfrey and my nettle. That stinky brew is very good for the garden, but it's still not the same as having the tropical sun. And some of us won't be fortunate enough to country living in the tropics. But guys, you have to work with where you are. So whatever you can grow, just think of things that you can preserve for a long time. So things like pumpkin and butternut squash, once you harvest it properly with the top intact, it can stay until the next season. So you learn how to store them and plant different varieties so you can still get the proper nutrients in your body. So let's go over to the medicine side. So guys, we're growing food to eat, but food that will keep our immune system going, where we can be in best of health, because the Bible say we pray that we be in best of health, and it say a merry heart going good like medicine as well. So usually if you're sick, you're gonna be sad and depressed and everything, and when you're stressed, everything kicks in. So you try to avoid that. So let's look at some of the medicine. So you're gonna grow your herbs, say if on your ginger, your garlic, your sage, or you name it. So those are medicine. But you can look at other ways to do like your salve, do your salve from it, or make some oil. So like oregano, you need to harvest it before you start going to seed, because I want to extend the season for the entire gardening season for. So you try to harvest the leaves just before you go to seed, and it continues springing up all through the season. If you have a lot, you can preserve them by dehydrating them, blitz them in a food processor, just like when you go to the supermarket and you buy your dry oregano or dry basils or whatever. You can make it yourself, or you can make salve. Salve is like just using the herbs and then you make like an ointment. So I'll show you a picture on the next page. So guys, I learned to make my salve going 2 years now. You know, so I'm mastering all those skills, and I'm feeling so happy that I'm able to do that. And guys, you have to be careful where you source your information from. Certain places will tell you this side effect and guys, I'm no medic, I'm no doctor. I'm just telling you what I use for myself and my family, what works. Okay. So in a garden now, you plant all these different things that are used for different ailments. And guys, you need to plant as much as possible in your garden, because you don't know if somebody's going to get like a bee sting, or they're going to get a broken wrist. And the comfrey in Jamaica, it's known as knitback. I never knew that when I was in Jamaica. I never know that plant. But while you start researching more and trying to find out about these things, you get to know you can actually set back a broken bone, guys. So we can look at all of those in details, learn how to do it. So if anything like that should happen, we should know how to take control and what to do. So everything on here I have in my garden. So if you're not familiar with Arona berry or elderberry or leaf of life, you can always pop over when you're finished. I have detailed videos going through all of those. Then, guys, the arona berries on the screen, some people used to call it chokeberry. It's very tart, but it makes the most beautiful jam. I'm telling you, the jam nice. It's like in Jamaica, people normally love guava jam. Personally, for me, I don't like guava jam that's on the market because it's extremely sweet and you can't really taste the guava. All you can taste is sugar. But if you make it yourself, it's nice. But of all the jams that I've tasted, Arona jam is the best. It's very nice. So you're there having your homemade bread. You put this jam on. Not only is it satisfying your hunger, but because it's aroma that you're using, it's giving you all that benefit as well. Because guys, it's very nutritious. So we make arona jam, we make blackberry jam. This year, I was hoping to make some strawberry jam. I've had more than 2 dozen, guys. We're in mid-March, mid-May, and I've had more than 2 dozen strawberries already. I need to save them to make jam. So you can use all those things, and that's how we are preserving the produce from your garden. So if you have anything in plentiful supply, you snack, and then you can use some of these like the blueberries and the strawberries and your currants and things like that and make jam, okay? That's a good way to do it. And normally most people like eating the jam if it's done properly. So this is one of the salve that I make. So this is made from Comfrey. So all that's in there is beeswax, which if you start growing your own bees for your sweetness, you can have the beeswax. So it's beeswax. And this one have extra virgin olive oil, but you can use coconut oil. So if you have your coconut trees on the land, you can make your own coconut oil and do it. And then you just harvest the comfrey from the garden, wash it, dry it. You don't have to dry it if you want. You can use it green, but I tend to dry mine. And I have an entire process of how to do it on my channel as well. But this comfrey, guys, there's a debate about taking it internally because they're saying there's not enough research and there's side effect and it can do this and it can do that. But I'm telling you, when 2020 came around, with everything that was going on, myself and my husband, we drank comfrey tea and mullein. Comfrey and mullein. Those were our go-to tea to make sure our immune system was top-notch, okay? We drink comfrey tea up until this day. It haven't done anything to us. If you go online, there's a lot of negativity or lot of question mark about the internal use of it. But at the moment, I can say it's a very good tea for you to have to boost your immune system. So I use it to make the salve, and I use this salve from head to toe. I use it as a hair oil. So if you have any dandruffs or anything in the scalp, it treats it, okay? I use it straight as a lotion. So if you have eczema or anything, and if you have aches and pain, let me tell you, how I got doing the comfrey salve. My husband loves to go to the gym. And he's one of those person that when he goes to the gym, he goes extreme. You want to do like, you know, you can only imagine probably 4 push-up. He's trying to push himself to do 8. Okay. And when he comes home, he's in pain and he cries and he's like, oh, here is pain in, So he was the one that did research because he had a pull muscles and he was in agony and he was doing some research about natural pain reliever. And then he was saying comfrey salve. And I was like, he never asked me to make it, but I was listening to him and I'm thinking, but I have comfrey in my garden. It can't be that hard. So I did a little bit of research. And then guys, I've been making my comfrey salve since. And he can tell you, he can attest to the fact that it have helped his pain so much. And guys, if you're gardening, I would say to you, you need a good comfrey patch in your garden. Okay? Because if you have your fruit trees, When you plant your comfreys around the fruit tree, it keeps away a lot of pests. And the comfrey help pull the nitrogen and everything from the bottom, help feed your plant. Guys, if you want to feed your fruit tree, you can just break off the comfrey leaf, just place it at the root of your plant, and it will break down and feed it naturally. And then you can soak it, use it as a liquid fertilizer. Guys, you can use it as a tea to boost your immune system to keep it going. And you can use it as a salve, as I'm showing you on this picture here, that I use from head to toe, and it works. If you're in the garden and you get a bee sting or a wasp, you can rub it on it, it helps. If you have joint pain, I have a pull shoulder that was paining, you just massage it in, and guys, it work. Okay, so these are some of the things that we should have in your garden, and we should know how to process it so we can use it to be benefit to ourselves, family, friends, neighbor, and as a witnessing tool as well. Guys, when people are hungry or in pain, and you can satisfy those things and then tell them about the love of God, they're more willing to listen. Okay, so these are some of the things that are beneficial to know from now. So this is wild garlic. I'm fortunate that where I'm living, just few minutes walk, there's acres and acres of wild garlic. There's a debate here. You're not supposed to dig up the bulbs or anything. Sorry, but you can harvest the leaves and things like that and use it. These are wild garlic, guys. These are free medicine. You can try, be creative, see if you can get some, get it in a garden and things, but these can be used just like normal garlic. So if you're in a location that is warm probably, and your garlic bulbs doesn't form properly, you could try and grow wild garlic. Okay, so this is very good. So this is me going out and harvesting my garlic. But there's a thing in Jamaica, we call it duppy soursop. It's known as noni. It says on this screen on your left. Guys, those are some things that's grow in the wild. So it depends on where you are. These are some wild trees, but you can try to incorporate into your garden. You just harvest these when they're ripe, put it in a bag, let the juice drain. Good for diabetes. It's good for so much things, guys. Let us use the time while we're doing the search for houses and doing the search for this and doing the search for that. Think about how you're going to design your garden. What are you going to incorporate in your garden? Think about, we don't know if we're going to country living, if things going to speed up and we're going to have years or months or weeks. We don't know. But it's always good to prepare. Yeah, plan ahead. If you can have it, because it's going to make our life easier once we're having a plan in place. So think of medicine, not just think of food to satisfy our hunger, but think of things that can keep our health up as much as possible. Okay, so those are some of the things. And the thing is, guys, most of the elders among us, they have the knowledge, they know the things. And most of the things sometimes have a different names than what we are familiarized with. And if we don't take the time to talk to them, no, sit at their feet, listen. They're full of wisdom. They're full of knowledge. We need to talk to them because I'm planning by God's grace to get in that countryside in Jamaica as soon as possible. Find those old farmers, go around with them. Let them show me which bark of the trees for this, which trees for this, which bushes, and soak up the knowledge as much as possible, guys. We cannot wait for the last minute as if gardening is a second thought and say, okay, what should I plant? What should I incorporate? How do I know how to use this? How do I know how to preserve it? It's a bit too late by that time, guys. So we need to think about gardening seriously, okay? Then this is the sage, some sage from a garden. They always used to have a phrase when they say sage mean wise. I don't know if I heard that phrase. Sage mean wise. Because when you do research, they say that the sage is good for brain. So they also say if people who have dementia, Alzheimer type thing, you can try to incorporate like sage oil, sage tea, things like that. Loaded with the antioxidants again, help to support your oral health. You can make like a mouthwash with it, or by just drinking the tea, freshen your breath, you know, lower your sugar, cholesterol, things like that. Guys, the herbs that we use to season our pot, because you use a sage, you use a bay leaf, you use oregano, you use those, but they are medicine as well. So we have to spend time researching, asking questions, learn what is used for what, and then we try to incorporate them in our plan to be in the garden. Okay. And sage tea, it's nice. Only thing is, sage, when you're making sage tea, just like when you're making rosemary tea, don't boil it. It's gonna be bitter. It's gonna taste bad. Okay. So you get your water to the boiling point, put your leaf in, just make it bubbly over, turn it off. Otherwise, it can be bitter to the taste, but it's nice. Just same things like even lemon balm. You need that in your garden. It's good for anxiety, stress, things like that. But if you live in a tropical area, anywhere where there's mosquitoes, those are natural repellents. So you have the lemongrass, or what people call fever grass, and you have the lemon balm. Those things, even rosemary, they're good to keep the mosquitoes away without putting any poison things on to keep mosquitoes away. Okay. Then think about the design of your garden. Because it's also, if you go and look in a forest is not as clean as most of our garden. Well kept and no leaf anywhere. And guys, talking about leaves, leaves are natural mulch. Don't just sweep them, burn them back, keep them. If you take like a bin liner and you take your leaves and you just tie it up and leave it, you'll be surprised to find the following year. And if you wait 2 years, you'll be surprised and nice. It's like a nice fine compost thing. It's very nice. So think about how you design your garden. So you can use your bigger tree, like you have a plant that don't like too much sun. You can plant them under a big mango tree or an elderberry or a wild cherry or something that's big. So create a canopy. Okay. So when you think about, you sit down, you design, you plan what you want in your garden, and you decide, okay, this is the south facing part of the garden, and I'm going to plant some, it could be okra love sun, but it could be something like anything that doesn't love sun at the moment. Or sometimes the color if the sun is too hot, sometimes you will if you can't get the water 24/7. So it depends on what you want in the garden. And you design it away. So you have the big tree shading the smaller tree that doesn't like too much sun. And if you live in a place where you have long extended drought season as well, you need to design it so the bigger tree provides shade, so you don't have to think about the plants dying quickly. You get what I'm saying? And ideally, when you're thinking about country living, you should be thinking about water source. You cannot garden without water. Okay. So if you can get somewhere where there's a river nearby, a natural spring, or there was a well or something like that, that would be ideal. Okay. So design a garden now. So in the dry season, the tree covered, but if you have like excess of storm or anything like that, the big tree, like the coconuts in Jamaica, they kind of help to break the hurricane wind, so the impact is not too much. You just think about all those things. Okay. And then if you're planting your tomato, you plant some marigold beside it to take away the excess pests. And if you plant your strawberries, or plant your onions and garlic as companion planting to keep away the pests naturally, and experiment and do these things, guys. And within a short period of time, you'll be surprised how good a gardener you are. I'm probably speaking to the converted at the moment anyhow, but you have to learn these things from now. And going on now to gardening skills. Guys, there's so many things. The Bible says work with your hands. Gardening, I think, is one of those skills where the Bible did say, go out and till the land, plant vineyard, and it talks about all these things. I think this is one of the good skills that we all should have, guys. So, you know, some of us won't have the massive space that you dream of. So if you have a tiny space, learn the skill so you can have one mango tree bearing 6, 7, 8 different mangoes. Okay? Because you can hear layer right here. This was one of my grape. I was earlier last year and it's big now, guys. So you can see the root coming through. Yes, guys, you can do it. The first 2 times I tried, it didn't work. It did not work. Nothing happened. The branch I was trying to air layer, it died. So I basically sacrificed a branch of my tree. It died. So you try and try and try. And guys, everyone I did last year work. So you have to practice these skills, get it right. I did the hair laying, I did the grafting, I graft pear tree onto apple tree. And guys, it's so much fun when you look out on one tree and see more than one thing bearing on it. There could be a debate about doing it, but if you have a tiny space, this is one way you can have 2 different apples and so forth in a tiny space. Okay. Then while money is viable and while we can use it, we can think of ways to make money from the garden. Okay. So you normally plant the things, learn to protect them from the pests so you can get a bountiful harvest. Then you can sell some. Get what I'm saying? You can sell things from the garden. Yes, you're going to give some away because you need to share things, so share. And it's a witnessing tool as well when you give your neighbors and things like that. At the moment, I have a Etsy store. So I sell things from the garden, I sell seedlings and things like that. Even the Comfrey salve, I have it in there. So while that is an avenue, we should know it will cut off very soon when things get serious. We can use it, sell some things, probably to buy some gardening machinery or to buy some seeds or things like that. So make food, sell, support yourself, and with my brother talent, you can use the money to buy some extra tracks, some great controversies, things like that. Okay. So there's money to be made from the garden to help ourselves as well and help others. Because when you start gardening full time, not full time, but like seriously, you're always going to have excess of things. So you need to know what to do with it. You can jar the tomatoes. You can freeze them, but normally I found when you freeze tomatoes, you only can use them as sauce. You can't use them as in a vegetable and things like that. So you know different ways of doing things. And then, as I said, if you give away is a means of witnessing, because when you feed others, it's always a good way for you now to talk about the love of God. You know, like the cucumber juice is one of the best things, the most refreshing thing. You have your cucumber, you get a good blender, you don't have to add any water, and you put a bit of ginger in there. Very refreshing, guys. So much things you can do with the produce from the garden, but you have to learn how to grow them first. Okay. Then your onions, guys, you know, with the cough and the all those things, you just cut up your onion, put it in the jar, get some proper honey, cover it, leave it. It can stay for a long time because you know honey don't really go out, proper honey. Yeah. So leave it in there when there's a cough or a bad cold or anything. You just keep on taking a tablespoon, proper medicine, guys. So the onion here, the onion, and there's some garlic there as well. It's for seasoning and it's for medicine. Okay. And I mean, even when it was last year, I was in my garden. There was a knock on my door. My son run and say, "Mommy, some at the door." It was a neighbor. He was like, "I went shopping, but I forgot my onion. Do you have any?" You know what I'm saying? So at least you're there for your neighbors and you can get to talk and things like that. So, guys, I love gardening. I do love gardening. And guys, sell big products. Um, this was a berry thingy from the garden with some apples and some pear and different things. And guys, sweet potato over here, and it can be with cornmeal, and you can get the corn from the garden and you grind it up. And ideally, I'll be getting my coconut from my garden soon, and Guys, there's so many things we can do. So many things we can do. And guys, now is the time to ask the questions and to find out from others who have done it before. Now is the time for you to try it yourself and make all the mistakes and learn to correct them. Okay? And then exercise. Exercise is a given. You're in the garden, you're lifting the water butt, you're walking from here to there, you're bending, you're tilting, you're harvesting. That's just natural exercise. And the nice thing about exercise in the garden, you're exercising in fresh air. You're not coked up and locked up in a gym, inhaling all the sweats and the nastiness that's come. No. Fresh air exercise, guys. And you know, one of the principles of health, you know, the fresh air, the exercise, all those things. Yes, guys. And yes, this is one of my Crown Prince pumpkin. It's super dry. It actually tastes like sweet potato. So yes, guys, the garden have so much benefits for us. And so thanks for being here, guys.